It's Sammy at Paint Fork Farm, and I'm going to take a little tour to show you what we've done this week. Blue Mountain has been closed for 4 days, so we had 4 days in a row off, so we tackled some big chicken projects. So one of the things we did is we remodeled this coop. For before and after pictures of all of this, if you want more to see more, then you can look on our photo blog, which is paintforkfarm.com, and then you'll click on the blog and the pictures will be up. So we remodeled this. It used to be a tall coop, so we cut the legs off. These two doors were on the other side on the top. We moved them down here below, so then we can just open them up when we need to clean. We can just get right out in there. Then over on this side, Grimshaw running away, we put in their solar door, so they, so we don't have to come out in the morning or worry about putting them up at night. They'll be locked up safe. We made this one. This was our first chicken coop, so we had it so we could carry it. It's much lighter, even though we added some stuff on. But these are the handles. There's another one on the other side. So two people, one person on each end, you just lift it and walk it. The roof lifts up, and you can see in there the roost bar, and yeah, and that's it. So we gave it a little paint job. We made it match the other coop, because we still had plenty of paint left, because I bought way too much when I bought that paint. Painted my truck, and now this, and we still have a full can of the blue. The other thing we did on this, where we cut it off, then we used some spray paint, Plastidip, to kind of help protect that from the weather. So this will be for the little side flock that we have, kind of. Derp, who does what she wants, and then mainly Soda Flop and one Dominique. Scrimshaw really does not like Soda Flop because she's old, and we think that's why. And then the Dominique, nobody, all the other hens pick on her, so they kind of have their own flock going on. We're gonna put them over here. We originally, when we made up this whole plan, we were gonna have the flock all together, but it's just not working out that way because Scrimshaw just won't leave Soda Flop alone. So we will go ahead and build like a small covered mobile area for the feed and water. That's just gonna have to be another project. And we took the step-in post premier fencing. We just attached it to what we already have up for the other girls. We put one up since it's just the 3 hens. And honestly, this isn't gonna contain dirt, so she'll still fly off and do whatever she wants, but hopefully the other two will hang out in here. Yeah, so that's it. So next up is the main flock's coop. So this is the main flock's coop. We didn't do too much to it. We did thoroughly clean it. We moved it. You can see over here is where it used to be. We try to move it about once a year, just to give that land a little bit of regeneration back, so it's not just mud under there. And because, eventually like that area starts smelling kind of bad because it's spilt feed and poop and stuff like that. So, so we moved it over here. The people we had bought it from didn't have it sitting up on blocks or anything. And so there was some water damage and some rot in the legs. So we turned it on its side, cut the legs off, and used that same Plastidip on the bottom. Other than that, we didn't do, that was pretty much everything we did. We did clean it out. This is a nice coop. Don't know if we ever showed the inside of this one, but it has the 2 roost bars in the back. Lots of nest boxes, so they can only use one because they only use one. I guess occasionally they use 2 of them. And then you have the window over here. During the winter, it just latches shut. They have their solar door, which this one we've had for 3 years, and it got stuck once in that whole time. So they're kind of expensive. It was about $260, but it keeps them safe while we're at work at night, and it's going 3 years strong, and we haven't had any problems with it. So I feel like that's worth it. Bug. So that's also why we bought the same brand and everything, Cheaper Keeper, except it's Cheeper. On this side, this is where you have access to the egg boxes, and we just have some carabiners, so it's a little more secure at night. And then soon we will take this cardboard down. We put it up with zip ties to cover. This window is open. It has hardwire cloth on it, but during the winter we didn't want the breeze blowing in there, so we did this. This lasted the whole season. We did it once, so we're definitely going to be doing that again. There is a drop in temperature. It's like probably 75 right now, but there's a drop in temperature coming up. And last year we had snow at the end of the end of April. Yeah, it was like April 23rd we had snow. So we're gonna leave it up just a little bit longer in case we get another just like snap of cold. So now we are going to their feed area.
Might as well start up.
This was the first project we started on because it was the most intense. This is when we first moved here. Then this was really falling apart. We did a little bit of work on it, put a new roof on it, but we could only afford like some plastic, corrugated plastic. And we knew it wasn't gonna be their coop for forever, so we just kind of like fixed it up. And I think that was their coop for a little bit under a year before we got them in like a safer, better one. But we did it with the building is still fine. We don't want to just like knock it down or not use it or anything. So this is going to be their feed area. And water, I don't like keeping it in the coop or near it. So I feel like it just attracts predators and more bugs and flies and stuff during the summer and all that. So I like to keep it separate. I like it covered because there's not a lot of cover out here, and we do have hawks and stuff in the area, overhead predators and things like that. So the roof was a big thing. We tore off the plastic. We put up plywood under there and then did the metal corrugated roofing up top. It was intense, but it wasn't as bad as honestly I thought it was going to be. So I'm very happy with the results. And yeah, so while we were doing that, we're gonna go inside real quick. We went ahead, since this did used to be a coop, we did have the bottom lined with hardwire cloth, so predators and things just couldn't come and dig in. Now that it's their feed area, it's open. They can also go in and out under the floorboards, which is nice. Again, if they're running from overhead predators, and they can just zip in here. They like to dirt bath and stuff. So right now we have their feed and water hanging, but eventually we'll have a water nipple system and a PVC hopper for the feed. So that will be changing shortly. But while we were in here and we were doing this, then, you know, we worked everything out. So this over here, this bottom beam was super rotted out. And I was just literally pulling it off with my hands. So we just happened to have this piece of extra wood. So we put it in here, put some blocks under it for some support. A couple extra pieces here to support this because it wasn't even touching it or anything. So just make it a little bit more stable. Again, eventually this area will probably all go away, but while it's still relatively good, then we want to keep using it as long as we can. Yeah, that's it. They see, you know, they're all in here scratching about. I mean, we put fresh straw down, so they love scratching through that. But it's definitely cooler in here, I think, than it was with the plastic. And yeah, I like it. You know, I think it's awesome. So pretty much everything was chicken. All of those projects took up the majority of our time. We also had other things. I had an emergency filling, and Sam had to go back and forth with Blue Mountain, letting people in and programming the register, regular errands, stuff like that. I had a couple meetings, things. So anyway, that took up most of the time, but we did have time to get a little bit of farm stuff in. one of which we just had to, which I'll get to that one in a second, but these are some willows that we've been growing up. We got little, just foot-long starts from the Illinois willows. Very nice guy, I believe his first name is Kent. So before I go into our success rate and all that kind of stuff, none of this is his fault at all. We did a very horrible job on trying these out, and we had some mold problems and all that kind of stuff. So I think if we had followed the directions the way we were supposed to, everything would have been great. But the good news is that we still hit, even doing our horrible trials, then we still hit 44.3% success rate, so that's awesome. Again, we neglected them, we didn't do anything, we, you know, all sorts of stuff. Like I said, there was some mold, it was bad news bears. But anyway, we have 5 of the red curly willows, all 10 green curly willows survived, and then 2 of the yellow, which are these ones right here. These will wind up being these spirally willows that you can use. You can dry them, you can make wreaths out of them, like weave them, because they're very supple and everything. Really awesome stuff. So the only variety that we lost all of them on were the giant pussy willows, which are the ones that have like the almost cottony type flat poofs on them, you know. But again, considering how poorly we treated them and everything and how we didn't follow the directions, I'm very happy with this. We have at least one of all the colors, so willows are easy to propagate out because they just like to grow and root out. So once we get them in, then we'll be able to get more, and then, you know, just buy some more of the pussy willows that we lost. So these will, once we get the trees clear down along the creek line, these most likely will be going along there. We might wind up putting some in with the chicken area just because they're fast growers and it would provide a lot of protection for them. But we're still kind of planning out where everything is going to go. So that's all awesome. I went through and we weeded them out. We also took all the ones that didn't survive. We got them out because they were all just sitting here together. So again, the ones that went are doing great, very healthy, lots of new growth, looking awesome. The thing that we kind of had to get done is these guys over here. I'm a member of the Arbor Day Foundation, and normally, I just renewed my membership, so they sent some. It was wildlife and bird pack or something like that. Anyway, so these are the ones we got. The containers we had left over from the willows that didn't work. And then we just planted these out. Officially, you're supposed to like dig them into the ground and everything. Since we don't have any idea where any of this stuff is going, then we just opted to do them like this, and then also see which ones take and which ones don't. So we have 2 arrowwood viburnum, a tulip tree, a river birch, sergeant apple, crab apple, Washington hawthorn, gray dogwood, red oak, Colorado blue spruce, and then a bur oak. Oh, yes, so that is pretty much everything, all the projects that we were taking care of. But we did have one big delivery come, which was exciting. And we're gonna pan over to across the creek to the farm side, although I realize that there's a big tree there now. But our shed for the farm was delivered. This is a 10 by 20 gabled roof shed that we got from Marshall General Store. It has 2 lofts on the inside, one on each side, and that will be storing all of our farm equipment over there, so we don't have to keep carting it back and forth across the creek and driveway. So that's huge and awesome. We took some videos of the guy delivering it, and you should watch him because he is like butter. It was insane. Just like slipped right down into there, and first try, just got it right. It was incredible. And it was one guy. Just unloaded it, got up on the bricks and everything all by himself. I think it took him like 30 minutes. It was crazy. But anyway, that's it. This was really nice to work on because I just brought this folding table out, and Yeah, I was setting them up there, you know, when we were planting these, when I was reading those. Having the creek and everything is just really nice. Yeah, so that's everything we did.